I told you how I'm going to beat you. I'm physically going to come there and take it off you. Do you know what that means?
You knock me out.
No, I'm not going to knock you out.
You want the point decision?
I'm not going to go points, but I'm going to physically come and take it off you. From round 1 to round 12 or whatever, but you're going down on the 8th round anyway. Physically, mentally, I'm going to take it off you. You know that. You can see that in your eyes. You know that.
During their more than 15 years of professional career, the Klitschko brothers had a chance to see a lot in boxing. From severed heads in caricatures performed by David Haye to boorish upstarts like Shannon Briggs. However, all these daredevils managed to surpass one boxer named Derek Chisora, who annoyed the brothers so much that the situation went beyond the limits of sports. And today we will talk about this scandalous confrontation. It all started in 2010 when the youngest of the brothers, Vladimir Klitschko, at that time the champion of several major heavyweight titles, had to make a mandatory defense of these belts in a duel against the already infamous boxer Derek Chisora. On the eve of the battle, the fighters said a lot to each other, especially the British. But boxers will not be able to answer for words or somehow back them up with deeds. After all, this mega fight was not destined to happen. A couple of days before the fight, Vladimir Klitschko was injured and the fight was cancelled. Chisora, of course, did not believe this and began to accuse his younger brother of cowardice and avoiding the fight. However, the story of the clash between the Klitschko brothers and Derek Chisora did not end there at all. At the end of 2011, it became known that the eldest of the brothers, Vitaly Klitschko, would hold his next fight against the insolent from England. And here the most interesting begins. All the fans were waiting for Derek, so to speak, to make a fuss in the run-up to the fight. However, they did not imagine how far their bad boy would go in this. At first it all started with loud statements.
And this is the best time for me to whoop your ass before you become the Ukraine president, because I know that's what you're trying to do right now. So I need to whoop your ass before you become the president, because when you become a president or whatever, the prime minister, whatever, before you become that, I need to whoop your ass.
And it all ended with a daring slap in the face that Derek inflicted on his older brother at the official weigh-in procedure. This daring slap in the face deprived Vitaly of the right to be defeated. And this, of course, gave an additional reason for tension. And what was just another boxing match became almost a continuation of the eternal confrontation between good and evil. If you think that the rudeness of the impudent Briton has stopped on this, then you are deeply mistaken. Right on the evening of the fight, when there were only a few seconds left before the start of the fight, Derek saw Vitaly's younger brother Vladimir in the ring and, without thinking for a long time, went up to him and spat in his face.
Here in Munich, here you go.
Apparently, Chisora did not forget that case with the cancellation of the duel and was fraught with resentment. Klitschko did not respond to this act of disrespect, showing unimaginable patience. Apparently, he completely trusted the opportunity to punish his opponent to his older brother. And here the fighters are facing each other. The battle of looks between them was so intense that it seemed a little more and somewhere in the middle a Real spark would pass. The fight began, given everything that happened before the fight, quite calmly.
What he was doing yesterday, even two minutes before the bell was going.
As expected, Chisora tried to act with explosive attacks. He wasn't very good at blowing up. He worked not in long series, but in single strikes, a right cross and a long left hook on the jump.
With the style of a tall man. What's the right hand? The voice you hear in the background, that's Prince Sudanek, who's been with
Vitali literally immediately felt for the opponent's weak points in the defense under the right cross and began to strike there over and over again.
just a bit too static, and Klitschko's finding the target. Good enough just to discourage the Finns. When Vitaly Klitschko beat Coris Sanders.
In general, it seemed that sooner or later he would score him against the ropes.
I don't like giving shade rounds, but I couldn't really speak.
Chisora again,
Fighter, one or two good shots that landed. Chisora was better on his jab though in that round, and that's going to be the key to him.
But, starting from the 5th round, the first alarm bell rang in the form of two side blows from Derek Chisora.
Big shot, but we can keep him at bay. Yep.
You're pretty stern, are you listening to me?
Yeah. It is going to help him, you know, as has been said as well, and the Klitschko's as well. They like doing, they slap the gloves down first, then they let the shot go.
The Briton in the middle of the fight, more or less, managed to patch up a hole in the defense under the right cross and began to act a little more confident in general.
Just enough ring craft.
Not really, no. Not for that round anyway for me.
However, in the 6th round Vitali restored the correct course of events. Mostly due to right crosses, which he caught Chisora on counterattack several times.
That's a big right. That's better from Klitschko.
And then it was time for the 7th, perhaps the brightest round in this fight. At the very beginning, Chisora hits with a right hook, and then a few more times with both hands. Everyone around tensed up.
Klitschko took over for the last minute. But you're right, what you're saying, you've hit the nail on the head. Klitschko's shot.
But here Vitali hits the right 4 times in a row, winning back everything with a vengeance.
Chisora, remember, predicted. Perhaps a little bit tongue-in-cheek.
There's not much in them at all. When he's coming forward and putting his
Like
weight
that.
in. Yeah. But he was
End
coming
of the fight now. This has been a big effort in this crowd, a bit muted, but now the chance gone. That's a good right there on the far side of the ring. Some of Klitschko's people are in the sort of dominant and authoritative. There's got to be.
There's not much body fat there.
Good work from the champion in the closing stage. You've got it ball by... What have we got?
In the 10th and 11th rounds, it was clear that both boxers were very tired, but Klitschko generally was winning the fight, and once or twice he even managed to shock Chisora.
I don't suspect he maybe quite has the punch power to do it, but those are the shots. Somebody I know, admired hugely. So, it's going to be interesting to see what the reaction of the two men is. Will there be a respect at what's happened in the ring? We've got snow outside, and it is hot.
In the 12th round, the Briton desperately rushed to the attack, but nothing came of it.
As such, irrespective of the
Stuck
fight,
here tonight.
he's given very good.
Vitali was still a little more accurate in the final round.
Ticking down. The multi-Chisora carrying the fight to the champion right to the last. Last 10 seconds. There's the fight.
Even after the duel came to its logical conclusion, Chisora did not calm down and shouted something at the brothers, but it was no longer important. Michael Buffer announced the winner, naming the Ukrainian who won the fight 118-110 twice, and 119-111. After such a scandalous fight, hundreds of questions rained down on the Ukrainian. The victory was convincing, but everyone expected the promised knockout. As it became known later, the reason that our hero failed to send the Briton to the floor of the ring was an injury to the left shoulder, which the eldest of the brothers received shortly before the fight, which he carefully concealed. At a press conference, Vitaly expressed his extreme dissatisfaction with himself in 3 languages. He really wanted to knock out Chisora, but it did not work out. It seemed that the victory gave him very little joy. Having made the reservation that he was not looking for excuses, he said that he had boxed for the last 8 rounds with one right hand. However, Vitaly's speech was not the main event at this press conference. The show was stolen from him. Chisora at first behaved rather quietly. He did not dispute the fact of defeat. When asked why he hit Vitaly at the weigh-in, he answered quite interestingly. It turns out that he promised his mother that he would punish any of the brothers like that for preventing him from having a good fight. But the press conference after the fight did not go smoothly. As always, it ended with another scandal that turned into a fight. But here the brothers had nothing to do with it. While Derek was answering a question about his fiasco, the same David Haye appeared out of nowhere, who began to shout to his compatriot that he was a loser.
Vitaly said you could knock me out. You think you could knock me out?
Be quiet, you're a salesman. Get out of here.
Vitaly said to the people of Ukraine, people of Germany,
The guy's a con man. Remove him from the
now President, he's bitching out. Vitaly's about what's Vitaly? Where's Vitaly? He said, I want to fight David. Where is he now? Where is he now? You said you want to fight me. I agreed the money.
Take him away, I say.
I agreed with everything. Why do you not fight me now?
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Chisora was offended and yelled back at Haye.
David, you want to tell me that in my face? You want to tell me my face? You want to tell me my face? Alright, tell me my face then. I'm coming there and tell me my face.
Then he rushed across the hall, and what happened next, see for yourself. Vitaly Klitschko looked at all this chaos with surprise and then told the members of his team, "Let's get out of here. We are strangers at this celebration of life." Nevertheless, when the passions calmed down a bit, Vitaly agreed that although the holiday after the victory had been stolen from him, the victory itself had not been stolen.